Josh. Yeah, it's me. Who else would it be? I'm down in your basement. Where you at? We're about to start recording. We're going to watch Star Trek. Okay. Yeah, great. Well, you better get here soon. We're running out of time here. We got to start this episode. Well, you better get here quick. Come on, let's go.
Hello.
Oh, what the fuck? Get the fuck off me. Ah!
All right, Alex. I know that we say stuff like this a lot, but for real, it's kind of crazy. We're already at episode 6. So I feel like we haven't even started the season, and we're at episode 6.
It's going way too fast. Way too fast. Scotty was episode 4, right?
Yeah, and then we had the alien abduction episode,
The alien
Schisms.
abduction episode, Schisms, right? Whew, okay. Hopefully we'll see Ensign Rose soon.
Oh, yeah, true. Behind the curtain, we had planned on recording 3 of these a week like we did for most of season 5, but we just haven't because of various scheduling reasons. So it's not even like we're blowing through it because of doing 3 a week. We've been back to doing basically 2 a week. We're doing just this one today to make up, and still it feels like it's flying by. So maybe we're just at that point, but I think we're going to start to really slow down once we introduce Deep Space Nine here in a little bit, because then we got 2 shows. It's going to take forever to get through the season, so it'll feel a lot better, I think.
We say that now. I don't know, life just keeps getting faster and faster. Is that a thing that happens?
The older you get, because, yeah, I read once, probably saw a TikTok when I say I read, but about the older you get, the more time, like, you have to, like, your concept of your life is longer, so it gets faster, which is just terrifying. And that's why high school felt like it lasted 10 years. And now it feels like it's been, 2 years since high school, but it's been over 10.
4 years these past 4 years have passed by in a fucking flash.
But this upcoming November will be 4 years of the channel. It's basically us doing this channel has been another high school. Like, it's just weird to think about it like that.
I don't want to think about it.
All right, anyway, we gotta watch Star Trek.
We have arrived at Starbase 112 and are loading relief supplies destined for Tagra 4. We have also taken on a rather unusual passenger.
Ooh.
Welcome to the Enterprise, Miss Rogers. I'm delighted to have you on board.
Thank you, sir.
And congratulations.
Descendant of Mr. Rogers?
We're on deck 7, section 4.
You're right.
I practically memorized the specs on the way over here.
You're a quick study. This is it.
My quarters.
Do you know the layout of my bedroom?
Big.
For honor students, only the best.
So Scotty and her have now mentioned how big the rooms are.
Could have brought my zoo.
Your zoo.
Well, it's just what my parents call it. 3 dogs isn't that many, is it?
Yes.
Still got dogs in the future.
Oh, no. Oh, no, I didn't mean it. You guys can't stay here.
Aw. All right.
Next on Star Trek, The Next Generation, a blonde woman has puppies, but then they disappear.
See all these readouts? That's
Oh,
your heart rate, your blood pressure, all your vital signs.
well, wait. That makes me feel a little bit better, actually. All right.
Well, yeah.
Wait, could she be a Q? That's how she could do that.
There we go.
Or aspiring Q.
My husband died a number of years ago. Wes was our only child.
My parents died when I was a baby, too.
Sick bay to Dr. Crusher. You wanted to be told when the cultures were ready.
On my way.
The silence is already getting to me, man. It's like, put some score in there.
There you go. It's right there.
Yeah, in the transition shot.
The only thing the filters can do is keep things from getting worse.
Uh-oh.
They shoot
Oh
the
my God.
air full of...
Dude, she's gonna get magnetoed.
Data, bring down the isolation door. We're gonna have to eject the warp core.
So now I'm expected to believe that they were all just going to die, but just by happenstance.
She's here.
Temperature in the reaction chamber has returned to
At least they
normal.
witnessed it this time.
That's true.
So it won't be the entire episode of, how did that happen?
Everything was normal, and then suddenly it's like the laws of physics went right out the window.
And why shouldn't they? They're so inconvenient.
Ah.
Are you responsible for this incident in engineering?
Of course. I needed to find out if what I suspected about the girl were true.
Okay.
Amanda's a Q? How is that possible? Her parents, her biological parents, were
You
human.
like this shot here.
In order to visit Earth, I suppose, for for amusement. But in vulgar human fashion, they proceeded to conceive a child.
Are you saying that you created a core breach just to test this girl?
Uh-huh.
What would have happened if she couldn't stop it?
Then I would have known she wasn't a Q.
Doesn't even consider the other consequences of it.
Nope.
I'm rescuing her from that miserable existence.
That miserable existence is all she's known for the last 18 years. You have no right to take her away from it.
Has Beverly and Q ever had an interaction? Ever?
I think when he came back in season 3, they had a short little thing when, remember, his back hurt or whatever.
Oh,
They had
yeah,
a short little scene.
She needs me to help her prepare for a future with the Q.
But what if she doesn't want that future? It must be her decision. We cannot argue like this in front of her. We must at least appear to be pals. Civil.
I mean, unless they can take the powers from her, which I guess they could because it happened to Q, I was going to say. It's not like she really has a choice. She can't just be human with these amazing powers.
Unless it would be some Hercules thing where he chooses to let go of his powers.
Yeah.
I want to know about her biological parents, about their death.
So 2 Qs
I
banged
find it
in
odd
human
that
form and created a
Any
human.
Q could die in an accident.
Yeah, they definitely did die in an accident.
I thought I was going crazy. In a funny way, finding this out is kind of a relief.
I can understand
She already
that.
told her?
Oh, well.
I'm ready.
Good.
Also, I like how Q now just wears the uniform. No questions about it, just with 4 pips.
With time, you'll overcome the disadvantages you suffered as a child. No one will hold it against you for having been human.
Oh!
She was being impetuous. She'll just have to start behaving like a Q.
If I'm not mistaken, she just did.
And the person who can help you is Q.
He's so horrible.
You are going to have to make some hard choices about your future. And you can't make them if you're going to ignore the truth.
I know. But I don't want any of this to disrupt my time here.
A bit late for that.
And I don't want you to treat me any differently, please.
You've got a deal.
You think if she never knew she was a Q, she would die normally or just keep on living?
She probably would just stop aging at this point. Because she said the powers kicked in 6 months ago, so.
Your progress, Q.
What the hell?
As anticipated, there are some problems. I need time.
Q Shadow.
However, there is the possibility we won't have to terminate the girl.
Terminate.
Don't get me wrong, I love Dr. Crusher getting screen time here, but doesn't it kind of seem like she should be talking to Troy?
Yes.
I mean, I get you don't have to be the counselor to have an emotional conversation with somebody, but...
Think about your parents. Remember them. Open your eyes.
Do you think it was her that was projecting them, or Q?
I think it was her. Oh, maybe not.
Message coming in from Tagra 4.
On screen.
Enterprise, I am on Lote, engineer.
Oh! Alright, nice makeup for a random character.
If we're forced to disable the reactor, it would take months to re-establish the ionic currents the filters have formed in the atmosphere.
That bling.
Iced out.
Records indicate that they died in Topeka, Kansas. Their home was destroyed during a tornado.
Tornado?
Fucking Wizard of Oz?
The bodies were discovered in the rubble after the storm had passed.
See if you can find out any more details, Mr. Data. I'd like to know more about that storm.
Aye, sir.
It's basically Superman.
Well, if it isn't number 2.
You could stay here and wait for her if you wanted to.
Just tell her I'll be in Shuttle Bay 2.
Damn, Riker's like,
You're
nope.
attracted to him.
I am not.
I think you are. How repulsive. How do you stand that hair all over his face?
Hey, come on.
Don't hate.
Have you finished already?
Yes.
How did you do it so quickly?
Well, Q helped me. It took us about half the time that it would have normally taken us.
That's gonna piss her off.
Yeah.
I needed to know the rates of mitosis. By artificially inflating them, you made the experiment useless. Now I have to do it all over again.
I'm sorry, Doctor.
Don't be sorry. If she wants to make things difficult on herself,
She was literally studying the rate.
she's a Q. Making her plod through human chores is beneath her.
She asked not to be treated differently.
That doesn't mean she should be bored to death. You would be incapable
And I don't
of
think it's asking
interfering.
too much that you do the same.
Oh!
And you stay out of mine.
Well, when you put it like that, I think you're absolutely right.
She's not even aware what happened.
I have further information regarding the tornado that killed Amanda Rogers' parents.
What is it?
It was unusually compact, yet extremely powerful. It was characteristic of a funnel 3 times its size.
Download the files to my ready room. I'll study them there.
Aye, sir.
So they were killed by Q, right? I think we can all agree.
Yeah. There's a dog on the couch there.
Not bad at all.
They're playing prop hunt.
You're still thinking like a human.
I guess she has to do the, whatever that is.
Yeah, is she a fucking witch? Oh, wow.
Now do you understand?
Jesus.
Your future contains wonders you can't even imagine.
Join me, and together we rule the galaxy.
How are you feeling about all this now? It must be overwhelming.
It was at first, but actually now I'm enjoying myself.
I swear they got the script yesterday. Everyone feels a bit off.
It's the silence, bro. It's like so bad this time. But I agree too. It's like all mostly ADR'd and it's just like very stiff.
Yeah, ADR. Yeah, wooden.
I don't know if it's just her, honestly. It could just be her throwing everyone off. Oh, what's she gonna do?
Amanda.
Oh.
Oh!
Riker's got to play dress up. Took it a bit far.
I thought it might be nice to spend some time alone together.
I think it would be nice if you took us back to 10 forward.
Isn't it nicer here than at 10 forward?
Yes, it's very pleasant, but that's not the point.
Wait, Riker, before you make your decision, go look in a mirror.
You can't snatch people and put them into your fantasies and expect them to respond.
You're not Barkley, bro.
My feelings are real.
I know, but you can't make someone love you.
Can't I?
Oh no!
You are so beautiful.
Oh no!
I thought it would be romantic, but it's empty.
Amanda.
Just go back to 10 forward.
But she keeps him charmed on accident. Where's Amanda? Good to see she still has that shred of humanity in there.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit of an excessive jump. I mean, barely using it with those experiments. Then, like, I'm going to kidnap Riker and create this whole fantasy. It's like, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, it's kind of like a kid playing with a new toy, you know?
Yeah.
But with people.
If she's truly a Q, then she must return to the continuum where she belongs. But if she were some sort of a hybrid, neither human nor Q, then...
She'll be killed just like her parents.
So what have you concluded? Does she live, or does she die?
I haven't decided yet.
Basically, his decision will be, is she going to be a Q or not?
I'm eager to see the field modulator in place, Commander.
Gotta hit the vape. Or does he need that vaccine they're going to be bringing down? Doesn't matter.
Extremely odd B-plot to have in here.
I'm sure she'll save them somehow.
Yeah.
Or make a decision not to.
By what right have you appointed yourself to this position?
Superior morality.
I can think of no crueler irony than that you should destroy this young woman whose only crime is that she's too human.
Jean-Luc, sometimes I think the only reason I come here is to listen to these wonderful speeches of yours.
I was going to say, he's spitting.
All I've wanted since this whole thing began is to become a normal human being again. I know I can resist.
They can't just take it away?
I guess not.
I mean, they literally did it to Q before.
So the parents tried using the powers again, and that's why the Q continuum came down and killed them?
Unless they're BSing about that, too.
Geordi is trying to stabilize the unit now. We will stay as long as possible. There are thousands of people in this area if that reactor goes.
So she's going to make the choice to save him and leave with Q?
Oh, because she can't resist but to save him?
Yeah.
Mr. Wolf, see if there's any way that we can cut through the interference and beam them out of there.
I expected a bigger reaction out of, yeah, we killed your parents.
It's no use. The heat has fused the injector shut. We're losing containment.
How long till meltdown?
A few minutes at most.
That's nice shot. Nice camera movement.
There you go, Robert Shear.
I don't know what's happening, but the reaction is stabilizing on its own.
Captain.
She didn't even need to go like that.
I've been denying the truth. Denying what I am. I am Q.
Now that you've come to your senses, let's go.
No, I want to go and see my parents first.
How cold-blooded if he had gone. Now that that's settled.
like that's what Q would do. That's how he'd kill her. Not just
with his bare hands.
You're a Q. You can do anything you want.
True. True Q. Now I get it. No, that's not what they... Boom. Wait. Whoa. I don't know how long it's been like this, but did you notice that credit is Rick Berman now? It's not Gene Roddenberry? I mean, he's obviously not here anymore.
Oh, wait, it doesn't say created by Gene Roddenberry
Yeah,
anymore?
it said the first credit was Rick Berman.
Executive producer?
I swear, very recently, it was still Gene Roddenberry, even after his passing is like created by or something. Maybe I have that wrong, but wow, I just noticed that. Now on to the whiteboard to start off our discussion, a quick summary of what we felt about the episode. For me, I put best Q since Q Who, and then I put in parentheses, low bar.
I wrote Emperor Q, because he's basically Palpatine from Star Wars, manipulating this young child. I wouldn't call it a thinker per se, but we definitely had time to think with the amount of dead silence there was with all the dialogue. I'm glad they added Q to this episode, because I think without it, it could have easily been snuck into a Season 1 or Season 2 episode, but they like to bring in Q to elevate these plots. The shroud of mystery around Q is fading with every single Q episode, it feels like. I'm not sure if that detriments the episode or not, or has my interest in the character so much, but in terms of this overall story of this young intern, brought on the Starfleet, discovers she has powers, Q finds her, and decides whether to kill her or not, and then she saves people in a heroic act at the end and leaves. It felt very run-of-the-mill, not very special. Everyone felt flat, wooden. It felt very odd. I really don't know how to feel about it besides what I've just said. It's strange. I feel strange.
Yeah, I think for me, the most standout thing for me, 100% on this one, is John Delancey as Q. And I said it was the best Q since Q Who, which was the Season 2 episode introducing the Vorg, which is just thus far leagues above the rest of the Q episodes. But I would put this one below that as my second favorite, just because it's finally a Q episode that lets him be Q again. And we haven't really seen that since Q Who, and in the first season, the pilot episode, not the best, but, hiding Q in that first season, not the best episode, but, he's full display. Ever since then, it's been Q loses his powers, Q is trying to romance Vosh in a Robin Hood type story, which he has his powers, but it's just really weird. Here we're finally back to getting to see him be Q, and Emperor Q is kind of a good way to put it in as far as the way he's used in this episode, but that is definitely the standout for me, is like, at least finally we can have one where he's just being John Delancey, his back and forths with Picard, what he does here in the episode. That was by far my favorite part. The rest of it, yeah, pretty standard. Nothing that I'm going to really remember. The concept, I guess, is neat, introducing someone new to the Q. It's just funny because it's like, does the Q not exist outside of the Enterprise? Like, this thing that, assuming they could do it anywhere in the universe, and of course it happens here on the Enterprise because she happens to be here.
Of all places this could have happened, any ship could have taken on this intern, and of course it's the Enterprise. Q probably jumped right at the opportunity, like, no fucking way. Yes, I get to go bother these people.
Yeah, like, of course, the one with the TV show. The ship with the TV show, it has to happen here.
The ship with the camera crew.
Yeah. So, it's like, that type of stuff makes it a little bit, it's TV, if you know what I mean. Like, it's a little bit like, okay, sure. But I did find the story interesting. Unfortunately, the guest actress here fell a little bit flat for me, and boy, was the silence, the lack of score, one of the worst examples of it here, where because probably the guest actress, I wasn't too big of a fan of her acting, and it was very slow and dull and flat, that a lot of her conversations were just like kind of a chore to get through. My favorite scenes with her, without John Delancey, were the scene where she talks to Beverly about, would you bring back your husband if you were able to? And then also her scene with Riker when they're in the fantasy situation. Those two were good scenes. Everything else about this episode, if John Delancey's not in the scene, I really couldn't care less. A pathetic side B plot that is only there to set up her decision at the end. And of course, literally in Picard's ready room, I can resist, leaves his office. I couldn't resist.
Yeah, right.
It's like, wow, gave a lot of time for that to develop.
like no time at all. And in terms of things developing, everything felt very, as slow as it was, it also felt very fast. Like she was
rushed, right?
Yeah, rushed. Yeah, like the entire time, like I'm human. I don't want anything to do with this shit. Next scene, Riker, kidnapped on this weird love thing. I'm gonna make him love me. And even like the scene before that with the whole Beverly thing, like, oh, that's part of it. No, even afterwards, Beverly's like, no, you can't do this. It's wrong. And she's like, oh yeah, you're right. But and then the next scene, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take Riker. And that's another thing. Like Beverly says, well, now this whole experiment's null and void. It's ruined because you took shortcuts. And I wanted something to happen at the end where she saves the planet. Well, now you've ruined the planet's atmosphere forever because it can't maintain this blah blah blah. It's like just ruined the whole ending.
Oh, she actually makes it worse.
Yeah, it makes it worse somehow.
Yeah.
And also, like her parents dying, or the reason they died, like no reaction at all per se. Now, to talk about the powers of the Q, it would have been great if she had. This is an example I'm thinking of. I don't know, Magneto in the plane in Days of Future Past, where he starts freaking out, all angry at Charles, and the whole plane's like about the crash.
Oh yeah.
And she has like something where she starts to like
lose control of her powers. Yeah, because this is new to her.
Exactly. It's like, and Q could be like, we can control this, so you can help people, blah blah blah. Further manipulation or teaching per se, because otherwise it's like, yeah, I'm great at everything. It's perfect.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't even thought of. Never flaws with her powers. Never. And I get it. It's not about that. It's not a superhero origin story. I get that. It's more about the moral choice of her at the end. And this is one of those episodes of TNG that I feel like the people out there that are here for ideas, that are here for concepts, maybe this is one that you like. Oh, very interesting concepts. But at the end of the day, we're here for a TV show. And, it wasn't a very fun episode to watch. And there are plenty of episodes where it is really about, deep and thematic, and we enjoy that quite a bit. I mean, The Inner Light, as an example, it doesn't, have to be super fun. But when you have the stuff you're playing with here, the powers of Q, I feel like the whole point about it is to be fun or to be big and bombastic and out there. I mean, even in some of the Q episodes I don't like, Cupid, I do like the Robin Hood stuff. And, I forget which episode it actually is, but the one where he brings in the fucking Mexican band, at the end, and gives Riker the two women, fun stuff like that. And here, it's just like a depressed girl. So it's definitely a different angle of it, and I can appreciate that. And again, my favorite stuff was the stuff with John Delancey, but yeah, overall, a lot of it was pretty forgettable where, yeah, sure, there's neat ideas here. There's concepts of a plan, of an episode, but it's just not really fully formed, it feels like.
Yeah. It seems to me they didn't want to go full out budget-wise and have a whole bunch of ridiculous Q stuff and tell a simple story about the Q instead of having ridiculous gags everywhere. Because maybe they blew the budget on that Robin Hood set and all the shit they had to build for that. It's like, let's not do that. Let's do very... We can still tell a story without doing too much here. But if you're going to have Q on, you might as well, try to go all out. Or, oh God, maybe they wasted the budget on the Lwaxana Troy episode last season.
Wait, I like how you're saying wasted the budget on previous seasons, as if it's would somehow affect this 1 year later.
we're still struggling from that episode.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of a story of a person basically finding out they're a god and deciding whether to do the right thing or not through different terms of manipulation or teaching, but I don't think it fit very well in this format in Star Trek.
Yeah, and it just could have been Again, the execution of it here wasn't terrible. It was just very average. And when I'm watching Star Trek and Q shows up for the first time in over a season, I'm not really looking for average. Like I'm excited. I will give it this. 2 concessions I'll give it from my reaction to now. First one, that hook, boy, did it not hook me. And I didn't put together the puppies thing was Q powers. I just saw it was just powers of some kind. I didn't immediately connect it to Q. So this was the first time where, yes, they spoiled John Delancey by, the Q title popping up. But that actually hooked me way more than anything in the hook. Like, I was like, oh, wait, it's a Q episode. Okay, this will be exciting. I still would have loved the reveal, obviously, better. But that was like, okay, well, I'm in. And then also, I think we both were, but I was definitely complaining about, like, the thing falling on Riker and then the engine exploding. It's like, oh, of course this is happening with her here. But they actually give the reason. It's because Q did it as tests for her. So, okay, now I buy it. That's why it wouldn't happen any other time. It not only is she there to save it, it's happening because she's there. So that makes more sense.
Yeah, and I'm glad they did those, because I was about to say the hook would have been so much better if she made the puppies disappear and then Q, phases in, or you don't even see him, you hear his voice. Wow, look at that. And it's like, oh shit, it's Q, but then we wouldn't have gotten those scenes of her saving Riker and the warp core thing. So
I also do really love Q's entrance in the episode in the conference room.
That is a good entrance, with a couple good camera angles in there too. Yeah, Robert Shear, I think, he had that one nice shot, that pan shot around her. And maybe it's because another budget thing. In canon-wise, I'm sure Q just loves walking around in their uniform with 4 pips. But real life-wise, they're probably like, oh, we don't want to do a bunch of different costumes for him again.
Yeah.
So let's put him in a Starfleet uniform.
Yeah, it's just the easy,
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you said it. Robert Shear was directed this one. I thought he did his best to elevate where he could. I did like the shot at the end, rotating around her as she makes this decision, and then the tear falling. Don't know if it was real or not. If it was real, credit to her. And then also the writing was by
Brandon Braga?
No, it was Renee.
Oh, Renee
Echevarria. Echevarria, I
something.
think. And I don't know if it's a man or woman, but they've written great episodes in the past, and so I don't think the writing was bad here. I think this was actually one of those rare scenarios where it's like good, decent script, good direction, and just the performances outside of John Delancey and our main crew. You're focusing on this guest character, so you kind of put it in their lap, and it just wasn't that good.
But even the main crew, a lot of them felt very flat and wooden. Barely Patrick Stewart was able to make a convincing performance out of his speeches.
Great speech,
but it was riding the cusp of. It didn't feel on.
Well, it's because it's in this episode, I think. So it's like you had this weird.
I think the whole episode brings on, like, everyone felt flat.
It's when they're interacting with her, I feel like. I felt like everyone was just kind of off.
Brings the energy
down.
Yeah.
I just feel like when you're working with an actor who's not on your level, that it can do that. And I'm not judging this woman's entire body of work. I know she probably went on to star in a huge movie. I don't know. But in this episode, I did not care for her. And I did feel like, there was a difference between her interacting with Picard versus John Delancey and Patrick Stewart. And yeah, the speech was weird because it was just like, I think that's why it was weird. But I think the writing was decent. The direction was decent. There was a lot good here. It's not by any means an episode I would say is bad, but it's just like, man, it really feels like with Q, you got to scratch and claw for everything you get good out of him, and it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, save him for a really good episode. Combine both and make a fantastical episode. But also just came to me, the whole idea of someone turning down their god powers isn't really interesting, because didn't that happen in the first episode? Remember that? At the end where, I can make you not blind, Geordi. I can make Wesley look like a Giga Chad.
Yeah, so that was actually Hide and Q where
that was Hide and Q?
Where he gives Riker the powers, and then Riker is the one giving it to everyone.
I couldn't remember, because Encounter at Farpoint, it's an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
So I thought it was somewhere in that mix. That was, what did you say? Hide and Q?
Hide and Q, episode 10, I believe.
Okay.
And that one, that it was very interesting, I will say. Seeing this was kind of one of those things of like the growth of the show from season 1, Riker being tested by being given powers, and now he's seeing another person go through this same thing. And that did hit me for a second when they're in that fantasy scenario before she charms him. I thought, oh, this is really interesting. Riker literally went through this, like having to battle against getting the powers of Q, and getting to see it from the other side is very interesting. However, that does lead me to my last negative about it. They've literally set up that the power of Q can be taken and given to essentially anyone. They've taken it from Q and kicked him out, who's like, I guess you would say a natural born Q, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he gave it to Riker, a normal human, and had no issue about him being a human hybrid, and then took it away from him at the end of the episode. Why all of a sudden would he not be able to take it from this girl? It just felt like plot convenience and not keeping up with the continuity of the show, which is not the first time I felt that they've done this with Q, so that's a little bit annoying. Not a huge negative or anything, it's whatever, but it does kind of flatten the whole point the episode's trying to make when I know in previous episodes they can take the powers away. So
maybe because she was born in a different way. I don't know.
She had Q parents. Yeah, when you take the powers from John Delancey, it's I really have a hard time believing you can't take it away from somebody.
Yeah, I mean none of these are important questions. The real important question is who was Q Shadow? Whose voice was that?
I don't know whose voice, and I don't know. Odd decision. I was going to ask you, what did you prefer, Q Shadow or Q2, to represent another version of Q? Which one did you prefer?
I like Q2.
Yeah,
I like Q2, especially when he first came in and just for a second went like this. And
you had a big problem with it.
I had a big problem with it once he did it again. It's like, we saw it. I was paying attention. Don't need to do it again. But no, I'd prefer to see what do the other ones look like instead of just a fucking shadow? Because why would a shadow give a shit? You know what I mean? Like, why would he why would he try to hide himself? What would a Q even know what a shadow is or give a fuck about being a shadow?
Yeah, I feel like it was just I want to say easy, but I mean it was a neat effect, but an easy way of just representing Q without having to have another actor. Like it was like, oh, just make a shadow effect and Q's watching over him. All in all, though, neat effect for a neat little moment, but really not even needed. Like it really not even needed in my opinion. So, but I feel like I'm getting really into the nitpicks here at this point. This is definitely one of those where it feels like I'm being more negative than I actually am because overall I enjoyed the episode, but God, I wish it wasn't so silent. That was really bad.
I'm sure if you wanted to make an edit of this episode, it'd be great. You don't have to extract any audio from the vocals from the instrumental. But I don't think anyone's going to make an edit of this episode.
Maybe just store that Picard speech away if you ever need that.
Maybe. It's probably my least favorite Picard speech.
Really?
I don't know.
You got to remember, he gives speeches and he gave a speech at the end of Imaginary Friend. Do you even remember that one?
No. Barely. But I don't know. Maybe because it's fresh in my brain and this whole episode just felt very...
It just didn't hit like you're used to.
It didn't hit where, speeches are Iborg, measure of a man, where, changes the way you think about things or really hits home. I've never had this problem before.
Yeah. I did like the content of it in the sense of, that's why you're so fascinated with us humans, that, the moral compass that you don't have. You're this omnipotent being, but you don't have that moral compass. You find that fascinating. As much as you act like humans are detestable to you, that's why you're always around. I like that. And I like the idea of Picard, growing throughout the show to more understand Q as the show goes on. So the episode had a lot of nice little nuggets like that. That kind of push it over the edge into something I enjoyed, but
okay.
It's like, come on, guys, give Q some better stuff. We're running out of time, running out of episodes. All right, I just got to start off. I don't know if I read one from him yet this season, but patron Ken R. I gotta give him some of his flowers here. Ken R. does not like TNG, but he's watching it with us. Loves TOS. And he gives some of the most funny takes. A lot of the time, they don't really fit into something we would have discussion off of. But I got to read this one because I instantly laughed while reading it. I turned this off about halfway. This episode is typical of the show. No stakes for the ship or crew. Some guest star that could have been another Charlie X if the show wanted to tell an exciting story, but contend itself to be a tension-free, drama-deficient little tale about a guest star bringing nothing by way of danger, excitement, or anything that could be called entertainment. It's very typical TNG episode.
Damn, Ken.
So if you want to know the perspective of someone who doesn't like TNG but is trying to watch the show, there you go. You got Ken R.
I gotta agree with that.
Well, I wouldn't agree that it's a typical TNG episode. I would say, no, you know what? I agree. I do agree, actually, but I didn't. I wouldn't turn it off halfway. This is obviously much more brutal. Shout out to the Charlie X mention. Underrated, low key.
That's a good episode. All right, this one's from hashtag Maxwell did nothing wrong. E ruins the Q. The less we know about them, the better. Trying to define them and what they can do, how they exist, and what they are diminishes what Q and Q episodes bring to the setting and the cast of characters when Q episodes are done well. Mysterious races and characters are better off left mysterious. Yes, I agree with that. The more we learn about them, it's like, oh, it's not special. I like asking questions like, who the fuck are these people? But the more and more we do, it's you can have Q in the episode. Just quit talking about the continuum. Just have Q be a nuisance and try to teach us something, or be wrong.
Yeah, 100%. I think E is very brutal, but
that's a bit brutal.
But yeah, and I'm looking through these takes and trying to find one that really likes the episode. But it's always hard when I'm looking for a defector take that likes it, because it's so rare. Usually most people like the episode, and then you'll have the defectors that don't, and they go into detail about why they don't. But a lot of times people who like an episode that a lot of people don't, they just don't, give a lot of detail. So it's hard to find one. I'll read this one. It's from John M. The rare Q episode that's not either terrible or excellent, just pleasantly good. Dobo is terrific, high B. I'm guessing Dobo is the female guest character. I highly disagree if that's the case, if that's her. High B isn't super off from where I would be if I was grading this right now. But yeah, I disagree. I'm going to look it up if that's her, because I would disagree with the 1 point you're saying. Okay, yes, that is her. So yeah, disagree.
All right, from James Knight here. Q couldn't call Dr. Crusher a bitch, so he turned her into one. S tier for that subtlety alone with the big smiley face.
Yeah, I was thinking about making that joke when it happened, something along the lines, but I'm like, even for Q, it feels in poor taste. I do like the effect of her turning into a dog and then not realizing she was turned into a dog.
That's pretty good.
But when you think about the joke behind that, it's like, interesting. Interesting.
Would Q do that? Would Q even understand that a dog is a female bitch? Or
a female bitch?
Yeah, it seems like most people are pretty flat on this one.
Yeah, I'll read one more that actually likes it just to try to be fair. Cat with Attitude says, I always liked this one. Was it a coincidence or a genuine Wizard of Oz reference with the tornado in Kansas being the way Amanda's parents were executed? I called that out as well. Memory Alpha doesn't say. I rank this as enjoyable. Yeah, and I have no qualms with someone saying this is enjoyable. I definitely enjoyed parts of it. I mean, it's just like, can the season continue to be good like it was for a few episodes?
Yeah, it makes me scared because people are like, oh, season 4 is the peak. Season 5 is the peak, and then I didn't hear much about season 6, so it's like
it has its fans.
Okay, we've had some good ones, but also I put out a comment where I said, oh, it's only uphill from here after Times Squared. That's what it was good. Time Zero. Time Zero Part 2 ended, and people were like, oh no. I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the franchise, or are you talking about this season?
Yeah, I mean, there were some great ones leading up to this. I really enjoyed Schisms, although I was kind of conflicted about it, but obviously the Scotty one was really good, so hoping to get back on track here. But, I mean, at this point, do you give up on Q here, or are you still interested to see more? There's one more season left. I'm assuming he doesn't show up again here.
I just feel like the magic's slipping. Every time I see him, I'm like, I know the shtick now. I know the deal. And it's just what bad plot are they going to give to him to try to elevate